Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you some NBA player prop bangers for tonight's NBA betting slate. The Splash Zone is back in your life. We're talking Friday, October 25th. Admittedly, it has not been the best start of the NBA season for me. Now, we had a good night on, I guess that would be Wednesday, but the other two nights have not been good. That continued last night. Did not get any of my plays to cash last night. I was 0 for 3. Now, I did play these light, but still over 3 is not very fun. Down about 1.38 units is what it was. There was some bad luck. I had Luka 10 plus assists. He had a really good game. The Mavericks just couldn't make anything in the first half. And then the Spurs waved the white flag with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So Luka ended up playing pretty light minutes load. Now, of course, he was injured going into the game, so maybe I should have taken that into account. The other two plays, DiVincenzo assists and Christian Brown 3-pointers, just bad reads. The DiVincenzo one was me stubbornly going back to that play from Tuesday, which I shouldn't have done. And Brown should have been a points play instead of a 3-points play. So sometimes we have bad beats. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we got unlucky. It was just some bad reads, which unfortunately happens at the beginning of the year. That's on me. I apologize for that. I will be better. Luckily, I'm very confident in the plays that we have tonight. We're backing 4 players, and one of them is going to be a ladder play. So it's technically 5 bets total being locked in, backing 4 players with, again, the one ladder play. And we're risking about 3 units, we're risking exactly 3 units total tonight. So I'm still playing these relatively light as we're trying to figure out how the beginning of the season is going to be. With all that out of the way, let's start talking bangers. Play number 1, and this is my only 1 unit play of tonight. It's Jaylen Brunson, 30 plus points, plus 105 odds at FanDuel. Now, this was a play that I did take on opening night for Jaylen Brunson. This is not me stubbornly going back to it because I was mad at how it ended. This is just a really, really good play on Brunson. And even though he did not hit 30 plus points in the first game of the year, it's not like Brunson himself had a bad game. The Knicks defense was a mess, and that game turned into a complete and utter blowout, basically at the end of the first quarter. Brunson, he actually played decently. He had 15 points in the first half. The problem was the Knicks were down by like 30, so Brunson ended up not even playing in the fourth quarter. But he did play well when he played, and the good news is, and the most important thing here, is he's still going to have the highest usage rate on the team by far. He's going to have a top 5 usage rate in the regular season of all NBA players. He had a 37% usage rate in game 1. Now, that's an obscenely high number. That's like Joel Embiid level usage rate, which that number is going to come down a little bit. But last year, he had a usage rate of 31%. That was the 6th highest usage rate of all qualified NBA players last year. And it's going to be high once again this year. Probably 34% is where it's going to end up. Again, he's going to be top 5 in usage rate. Last year, the Pacers were the defense that you wanted to target with high usage rate players. They allowed the most points per game to pick and roll ball handlers, the second most points per game via isolation, and overall they just got cooked by number 1 high usage options. Now, it's only been 1 game, so we don't know that it's going to be the same case this year. What we do know is that a high usage guard cooked the Pacers the first game of the year. That would be Cade Cunningham. He went off for 28 points against the Pacers. And he didn't even shoot that well. He shot 10 of 23 from the field, which is not that impressive, but again, went off for 28 points. And if you really dive into the data of that game against the Pistons, the Pacers, Pistons. Yeah, it was the Pistons. There's some positive regression coming for the way players are going to shoot coming out of the pick and roll against the Pacers. Even though that Cade Cunningham had a good game overall, the Pistons as a team only shot 7 of 17 out of the pick and roll against the Pacers, which is a terrible number. That's a number that is not going to continue against Jaylen Brunson, an incredible, highly efficient guard in the pick and roll. Last year, Brunson ran the 4th most pick and rolls in the NBA. He averaged the most field goal attempts out of the pick and roll, and overall averaged the 4th most points out of the pick and roll. And this is a matchup that Jaylen Brunson cooked in last year. Obviously, that includes the playoffs. Now, it was a weird playoff series where he left injured in like 2 of them. But if you just isolate the games last year in which Jaylen Brunson played at least 32 minutes, which if this game stays a reasonable score, he'll play over 32 minutes. But if you just isolate those games, Jaylen Brunson scored 30 plus points in 5 of 8 games against the Pacers last year. Again, when he played 32 or more minutes. And in 2 of the games he went under, 28 and 29 points. So that's still an under, but that shows how high the floor is when he plays heavy minutes against this Pacers team. That should continue again. Again, 1 unit on Jaylen Brunson to get to 30 plus points. That's play number 1. Play number 2 is our ladder play of the evening. It's Damian Lillard assist. I'm putting 3/4 of a unit on him to get to 8 plus assists, plus 120 odds at FanDuel. And I'm putting a 1/4 unit on him to get to 10 plus assists, plus 375 odds at bet 365. I think this is a perfect, brilliant buy low spot on Damian Lillard assists. Again, we only have one game of data to go off of while also looking at last year. But Damian Lillard did a really, really good job facilitating in the first game of the year. His assist numbers don't show that, but we'll get into that. And this should be, based on one game and all of last year, this should be a plus matchup against the Bulls. Now, looking at Lillard for a second, he only ended up with, against the Sixers, he only had 6 assists, which that does not look anything impressive or anything like that. But you have to dig deeper than that. He had 18 potential assists. He was one of only 5 players in their first game of the year that had at least 18 potential assists. Every single other player, all 4 of the other ones, got to at least 10 assists, and Damian Lillard only had 6. If you look at NBA.com, which we'll look at, they'll give out like an adjusted assist number, basically like if everything equal, how many assists they should have had. They gave Dame as 8 adjusted assists, which would have at least cashed out our mainline play, not quite the latter one, but that's even still a low adjusted assist to potential assist number. And Dame's role should be the exact same in this game than it was in game 1. No Chris Middleton. Dame's going to run a ton of pick and rolls. He's going to have a high usage rate, both shooting and passing. But he's got a great matchup against the Bulls defense that got shredded with assists last year. And in one game, got shredded with assists as well by the starting point guard. That was DeJounte Murray. Murray was one of the 5 players that had at least 18 potential assists. And he had 10 actual assists in that game. And his adjusted assist number per NBA.com was 13. So it should have been even better. In their one game, the Bulls gave up the most points to the roll man. Again, it's only one game, but of the teams that have played a game, the Bulls gave up the most points to the roll man in the NBA. And the Pelicans, you don't really think of as a high pick and roll type of team, especially without Valanciunas. That's perfect for a high usage pick and roll guard like Lillard, who's going to run them with Brook Lopez. Now, Lopez likes to pop as well as roll, but he can run them with Giannis, which was a problem last year, but maybe they're fixing that this year. And again, point guard assists was a good matchup against the Bulls last year as well. They allowed the 3rd most assists to Dame's shooting profile. This is all per courtside, pal, which is down for whatever reason, but these numbers are still giving you last year's data. 3rd most assists to Dame's shooting profile, 5th most to his scoring profile, 8th most to his playmaking style, and 6th most to his rebounding style. So across the board, a good matchup for Damian Lillard assists, and that should continue, or that has continued after one game. So I like this one a lot. Obviously, it's our only ladder play of the day, so I like the ceiling potential for Dame the most out of all these plays. That's play number 2 in our only ladder play. Next up, we are rocking with Steph Curry, 8 plus assists, plus 155 odds at Caesars. I'm only putting a half unit on this one because we're not quite fading recent results because Steph had a good assist game in game 1. He had 10 assists in that game, but all we're doing is we're looking at the matchup here and we're looking at the player. Last year, the Jazz were a dream matchup for point guard assist props, and that is something that has continued through one game this year as well. And the bet that we actually won was a ladder play on Ja Morant assists against the Jazz. Not only did he cash his mainline play, but he climbed the full ladder, getting up to 10 assists as well. Morant in that game, 10 potential assists, 19 potential assists, 10 actual assists, 12 adjusted assists, according to NBA.com. And I detailed this last game. It's all about the aggressive style of defense that the Jazz play. They end up giving up a ton of assists to point guards because the Jazz don't really have any ball stoppers, and they're very aggressive sending help. Both if someone's running the pick and roll, the big man will leave their man to try and stop the pick and roll man from scoring, which leaves the roll man open. They also are really aggressive crashing down from the wings off of shooters. Last year, they allowed the 4th most catch and shoot 3-point attempts per game at 27.4. The first game of the year, they allowed the Grizzlies to attempt 37. That was the 2nd most of all teams. Only the Heat allowed more catch and shoot 3-point attempts. And this was a matchup that Steph Curry dominated from an assist perspective last year. He played the Jazz twice last year. He had 10 assists in both of those games. One game he had 21 potential assists, which is crazy. Another one he had 14. Now, I doubt he's going to get to 21 potentials tonight. Probably not going to happen. But Even if he got to the 14 number, that would be great for Steph to only need to get to at least 8 assists. And it makes sense that Steph crushed the Jazz last year. Per Courtside Pal, the Jazz allowed the most assists per game to Steph's playmaking style. So we're rocking with Steph, A+ assist. Again, half unit at plus 155 at Caesars. Love this play. Now for our fourth and final pick of the evening. Tyrese Maxey, 35 plus points, half unit, bet 365 for plus 220 odds. So Maxey's main line point total is 29.5 for minus money. I didn't really think there was any value on getting him to do that, like the 30 at minus money. So I think the better value, and it makes more sense to just pump him up to 35, put a half unit on that bad boy, bet on Maxey having a blow up spot, which he absolutely should have against this Raptors team. Now, there's always the risk of the blowout because the Raptors are terrible, and they just got blown out in their first game against the Jazz. But the Sixers, without Paul George, without Joel Embiid, they're not like one of the best teams in the NBA without those two players. So I'm not really expecting this game to get completely out of hand. Maxey should play 30, 35 plus minutes in this one. And if you just look at the matchup, smash spot for Tyrese Maxey, who had a tough first game of the year. He scored 25 points, which, 25 points is not bad, but he shot 10 of 31 from the field. That's not good. What is good is the fact that he even attempted those 31 shots. Now, yeah, he probably won't get the 31 shot attempts tonight. Probably shoot over 20 because nobody else on the Sixers team can really create their own shot like Maxey can. He should continue to shoot at a very high volume without the other two stars in Paul George and Joel Embiid. Luckily for Maxey, this is a much better matchup against the Raptors than it was against the Bucks. The reason why Maxey had such a poor shooting game against the Bucks, he kept trying to challenge Brook Lopez around the rim. He did not get a ton of foul calls, whether he should have or not. He did not get them, and he did not do well attacking Brook Lopez at the rim. He also didn't shoot well, which he'll probably just naturally, based on regression, shoot better in this game as well. What's good is that Maxey ran the most possessions as the pick and roll ball handler of anybody in the NBA so far. That is what should continue in this game, especially because the Raptors, who just played the Cavaliers, literally allowed the most points to the pick and roll ball handler of all teams in the NBA. They allowed 30 points to the pick and roll ball handler against the Cavs. Again, that was the most in the NBA. Last year, the team that allowed the most points to the main pick and roll ball handler, that was the Pacers, who we just mentioned. That was 21.2 points per game. Now, obviously, in a one-game sample size, that number is going to come down over the course of the entire season. But it does go to show you just how shredded the Raptors got by pick and roll ball handlers, which is something that Maxey is more than capable of doing tonight. It's a night and day difference going up against the Bucks defense than it is this Raptors defense. So I love betting on a ceiling outcome for Tyrese Maxey. That makes it our fourth and final play of the video. Hopefully we have a much, much better day today than we did last night and on Tuesday. If we sweep the board, which I kind of feel like we are, we'll be green for the day and we'll forget everything that happened last night. But I'm looking to just have a profitable day overall. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, and subscribe. And if you're still here, the last thing I'll mention, I always mention it at the end of the video. I do have a Dub Club where I send all my picks out for $5 a month. Dub Club, if you're not familiar, is just a service you can sign up for to have people like me send out plays that get sent to your phone, text, email, or Telegram. The way it works is as soon as I decide what a play is, the first thing I do is send it out to the Dub Club. So if you don't always have time to watch the YouTube videos, you don't always want to watch the YouTube videos, which is fine, or by the time you watch them, the odds change, which does unfortunately happen. That's why I have the Dub Club, and I'll point people to the Dub Club. So you're able to get the plays at the odds that I lock them in at, because again, it's the first thing I do when I send it out. It goes to the Dub Club. But if you're not interested in that, no problem, because you're still going to get everything for free on YouTube and on Twitter, because it's the same plays. You just get them early on the Dub Club. But that's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.